Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the Brenda Perryman Show right here on TV 33, WHPR, Comcast 20 in Detroit, and you can get us on the web at www.tv33whpr.com. We stream live, and of course, there's an app for your phone too. I mean, we're all over the place, all over the world. And speaking of all over the world, Amazon.com is all over the world, and they offer my book, Mood Swings and Magic Carpet Rides. And if you get one off of Amazon, I will sign it for you. Of course, I'll be doing more readings, and I'll let you know about it, but it's a good gift. I had someone just buy 10 to give gifts for Christmas, so I'm really excited about that. So I have a great show for you today. I first have someone who, well, she's a joy. I'll get to her in just a second. Then, for those people involved in a relationship, I have a relationship expert on my second half. Let's see how much he knows, because I consider myself an expert. I've lived long enough to be an expert. Anyway, Valerie Johnson, good morning.
Good morning.
You see her, don't you? She's signing, and that's for the deaf, right?
Yes, yes.
Well, let's kind of go back in time a little bit, Valerie. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in a small city called River Rouge, Michigan.
Rouge. Rouge.
Yes.
People called it the Rouge. My grandson's visiting, and he's one of. And he went like this, ma, ma, ma. Does that mean?
He was probably saying more.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Probably wanted more.
They just can't get enough to eat.
No, they can't.
So, Val, you grew up in River Rouge.
Yes, I did.
And then you came, what happened after graduation?
After graduation, I went to college in Anderson, Indiana. And then in 4 years after I graduated, I got married a year after that.
To Arthur.
1980, to my husband of 33 years, Arthur Johnson.
Yes. My former student.
Yes.
Love
yes,
him.
your former student. He's talked a lot about you.
Well, anyway, so tell me, what happened then? Where'd you get a job when you first got out of college? What was your career? What were you doing?
Well, actually, I had a degree in business, and AAA of Michigan, they offered me a job right away, but I allowed someone to talk me out of the job. Never do that. And I ended up kind of settling for just a job at a bank. And so I kind of struggled a little bit, but along the way, around 86, we got married in 1980, but in 1986, I was teaching Sunday school at a church in Detroit, and I told my Sunday school students, I said, you know what? Easter got up on us so quick this year. Let's just sing a song for Easter. And the kids was like, oh, that's fine. The day before the Easter program, the Lord woke me up, and he says, why don't you do the song in sign language? I didn't know anything. I didn't even know ABC. I literally knew nothing. And I called up to, at that time it was Grand Bible Bookstore right up on Woodward Avenue.
Right.
And I asked the clerk, I said, do you have any books on sign language? He says, well, no, I don't have any books. After looking, he says, but I know sign language. And I said, well, can you teach me? He said, sure. I drove up there, and in between customers, he taught me my first song in sign language, Rise Again. And the next day at church, that morning, I taught it to the kids, and then that afternoon, we signed it for the Easter program. That was in 86. And then along the way, I began to meet deaf people and just meet different ones. And then in 95, I went back to college, got a degree in sign language studies.
Wow.
Then in 2003, I went back to school again. I was working at Ford Motor Company, had an excellent job, and I took an educational leave Monday through Friday, 3 to 4 hours a day, no talking, and just immersed in it. And that prepared me to become a state certified interpreter. And at the end of that time, in August of 2003, my husband and I both knew that God was saying, it's time to quit your job at Ford. And I started a nonprofit, which at that time it was called Touching the Nation's Deaf Ministries. And I began to travel and really educate the churches about the deaf community and what's happening in our churches to the deaf community. It's awful. And they're being pushed aside in the back, in the corner, instead of in the forefront. And so a lot of times people think that only deaf people can just sit and just watch the interpreter. But deaf people can do anything except hear. In fact, right here in Michigan, University of Michigan, the head of family medicine is a deaf man.
Really?
Yes, it is.
Now, so, well, my grandmother was kind of deaf. So sometimes you could see her reading our lips.
Mm-hmm.
There, is it true when one of your senses is kind of down, it heightens your others?
Yes, yes. And a lot of times, like someone said, well, can they drive? Yes, they can. In fact, I can't, and this one I cannot remember where I read it, but I believe they have better records than hearing people. And maybe because they have to be more alert. Like sometimes I've been driving and didn't know, I couldn't hear an ambulance. But with the deaf
you had that radio up.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding because you had that radio. You grew it, and all of a sudden you look in the rearview mirror.
And it's like, yes.
You know. No, I'm kidding about that. But serious, don't they have schools for the deaf, or did they here in Detroit?
Deaf education is probably is absolutely the worst. In fact, a man here in Michigan, a deaf man, went on a hunger strike because as a deaf student, wouldn't you want a deaf teacher that knows your language? And a lot of times that's not what they're giving. So they're giving
What are they giving them?
You or someone else that may not even know sign language, and then they have an interpreter to come in the room to interpret. And so a lot of times they don't understand that they need a deaf teacher that can connect with them, sign their own language. They don't have to look at an interpreter, look at the hearing person, and so that person knows that culture. And so they're not giving them what they need. So the only deaf school in Detroit that I know of closed down, and all those deaf kids were immersed.
That's why I brought it up. I heard that.
Yeah, and I worked at that school. And my heart just went out to those kids. And I ran into one of the kids at a church I attended. And she's not a smiley person anyway, but she just looked like she definitely was not happy. And I asked her that. So just now all of a sudden, even though they're mainstream, it's still a separation. So when I interpreted at one of the schools in one of the cities here in Michigan, the deaf kids were mainstream, but you sitting at a table. Here's the hearing kids, here's the deaf kids, still separate. So what I would try to do is just in between when I got a chance, I'd teach them a little bit of sign language. Hey, this is how you sign what's up. So they could try to get connected because it's like they were together but still separate. And so there are deaf kids getting killed by gang members. You see, this is a C, right? Well, this is a C for Crips, the gang.
Oh, my goodness.
Before we just moved to Georgia, and before I left, my pastor said to me, Val, I want you to put on a deaf awareness weekend. I had all deaf presenters, and one of our presenters, and what I did was get a team of interpreters to come. So whatever presenter was up signing, there was a person with a microphone that voiced. And one of our presenters said to us, she says, when I go to California, I have to be careful when I'm out in public as far as signing, and it's because of that very reason, that because of there's gangs out there, I could get killed, basically.
It's a shame that culture has triumphed over why did I do that? I don't know.
It's normal.
I'm sorry. I really apologize.
That's okay.
What is the first thing that a deaf person or a person who's learning to sign learns to do? Is it the alphabet or what?
It varies. For example, if right now you had a baby, and that baby the doctors found out was deaf, okay? Yes, baby. And you found out that baby was deaf. And what happens is that you might go to one person, they say, no, don't teach them sign language because that is going to limit them and they may not grow and it may be stupid or whatever. Okay, then you have another group that says, teach them oral, teach them to speak, teach them to speak. And what they don't understand is that first give them language, then if you want to try to teach them to speak, then you can say this is a B. Okay, this sounds like or something like that. So there's all these different arguments. Hearing versus oral, sign language versus non-sign language, ASL, which is American Sign Language, versus Sign English, where signing word, word, word. For example, the sentence, I am going to the store today. I did every single word. Well, in ASL, which is the actual language of the deaf community, that same sentence becomes today, store, I go. So it's a whole different structure.
Right.
And so my focus, that the Lord gave me a vision many years ago, is that if one gospel artist would connect with the deaf community by putting an interpreter on their necks, at that time it was before even DVDs. It was around 1998 that he gave me that vision. Put an interpreter on your music, then that would open it up for the millions of deaf in the world.
So what gospel artists have done that?
Zero. You see, now recently, okay, in fact, last week, Sunday, there's a deaf man that has an organization called DPAN, and he took the music from the Clark sisters. You Brought the Sunshine,
Right.
and he had deaf people, and there was 2 interpreters in that, and they made a video.
I saw the video.
You saw the
sent
video.
me, yes.
But I've been knocking on the doors of gospel artists for, like I said, since around 1998. And they always respond. I can talk to them. And sometimes it's like, well, deaf person, how can they hear? And so they don't understand. So when you saw that video, you saw deaf people moving.
Yeah,
and it was a whole choir.
Well, and I saw the little boy touching the record player.
Yes.
And he can feel the beat. Couldn't he?
He could feel the vibration.
Vibration, yeah.
And I just had a record producer about 2 weeks ago ask me that question. He says, well, I produce music, so I just got to ask you, how can, you're talking about deaf community, how can they hear? And they'll put their hands on the speakers, turn the volume up, and then watch the interpreter. I've had a deaf friend ride in the car with me, had the music up, and it was like boom, 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 boom. So she could feel that boom, boom. And so she looks at me. I have a sign name, and it's the V over the heart. My birthday is Valentine's Day, so a deaf person gave me that long time ago. So she's like, sign the words. And so I'm driving, boom, 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 boom. You don't know, boom, boom, boom. Put my hand back on the steering, like I know, boom, boom. And I looked at her face, and that was priceless. Now this big smile, and it's like, now I can match what I'm hearing with the words. And so that's why I try to get gospel artists. I've been to, you name the artist practically, I've either talked to them or someone in their camp.
It would be to their advantage to do
big
that.
time.
It would really be.
There are approximately 300 to 500 million deaf and hard of hearing in the world. In Michigan, there are more than 300,000. In California, there are more than 1 million. Yes, on my website, I have a page that says deaf population for the United States. And it gives you, for the whole United States, there are approximately 25 million deaf and hard of hearing in just America. But in the world, 300 to 500 million. And only 2 to 4% know Jesus Christ. And so that's why I reach out to the churches and try to encourage churches, to educate churches to connect with the deaf community.
Now, what are some of the venues? What are some of the places that you do signing?
Right now, at my congregation, I attend Bishop Paul S. Morton's church in Atlanta, Georgia.
You all moved?
Yes.
Y'all did move.
We did move. Yes, we did.
I didn't realize that. I'm sitting here not realizing that. So you're in Georgia now?
We're in Georgia. And the amazing thing about God, his timing is amazing, because the week that Bishop Morton told the church administrator, because they don't know me, they had no clue what I did or have done, he approved for me to go forth with the sign language ministry. That very week, the church administrator got a phone call, said, hey, there's a couple of deaf people who want to visit.
Isn't that something?
They came that Sunday, and they have been coming ever since. In fact, both of them joined. It was a husband and wife, and they are loving it. And so that's a part of what I've been. Since I've been in Georgia, I've taught a class.
Now, we have a DVD of you signing, I guess. I don't know. I'm hoping that it's on, or we're getting ready to put it on and see what happens. What are we going to see?
The song that you'll see signing is In the Midst of It All by Yolanda Adams. I've put a video my first video on YouTube in 2007, and I think one of the first people that saw it was a deaf person. And so I get contacts from people all over America because
Right.
there's such a need.
Right, right. Well, I hope it. We'll kind of wait and see what happens.
Okay.
Anyway, how do I say I love you?
This is a sign for I love you.
Well, right hand.
Yeah, if
It-
you're right-handed, it would be your right hand.
okay.
But if you're not right-handed, but you
I'm right-handed.
comfortable, okay, then this is I love you. It's the I, the L, and the Y.
Okay,
in there.
so you just don't go up like this, like a.
Well,
Many hard trials through temptations on every hand. Though Satan tried to stop me and place my feet on sinking sand, through the pain and all of my sorrows, through the tears and all of my fears, the Lord was there to keep me, for He's kept me in the midst of it all. Not because I've been so faithful, no, 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 no. Not because I've always obeyed, no, it's not. Because I trusted Him to be with me all the way. But it's because He loves me so dearly, yes He does. He was there to answer my call. He was there always to protect me. For He's kept me in the midst of it all. No, 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 no. He's never let, and He will never, never let me fall. Oh, yeah, yeah, yes, He will. He will protect you, yes, He will. He's kept me in the midst of it. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. He's kept me. He kept me when times got hard and they sure got rough, y'all. Yeah, 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 yeah. He's kept me, yeah.
Wow, wow. You told me you have to be dramatic like that. Tell the audience why.
50% of ASL is expression. So if I'm coming up to you and I'm saying, hello, it was so nice to meet you. It was really, really nice. My expression doesn't say that at all.
No.
So I have to say, oh, it was nice to meet you. Okay, because 50%, because they hear with their eyes. And so it's a visual, and that's why with gospel music, or even the gospel, I've sent letters to some of the television ministries that come on, and they always say, well, we've got captioning, because they don't understand that if that deaf person is reading, the Holy Ghost manifestation will come down on you like fire. What does that mean? I have to be able, they need to be able to see that the Holy
Absolutely.
Spirit comes down, He touches you, and they have to see that because it's a visual
Do
language.
that again. Golly, you were beating yourself. No, I mean, no. See,
Yes, because the Holy Spirit, He's coming down, touches me, and I'm feeling it. I'm inspired. So they can see that, and that's a visual. So on Sundays, when I'm finished interpreting, especially if Bishop is really fired up, then I just sit for a minute. Most times I finish
have
interpreting,
to.
I sit
You
for a
have to
minute
be worn
and
out.
just kind of rest. And so because it's more than just this, it's our whole body. Or if someone is up singing and she's sitting a high C and she says, Jesus, I can't just go. I've got to go with her, okay? If the choir is up, I'm moving with the choir. And that's why it becomes the whole body movement.
Now, when a minister is preaching, you listen to what he says and you're interpreting after, how far behind are you?
That we should be about maybe 7 seconds to just kind of, and sometimes I have to get a whole thought. And I know the deaf people, sometimes they'll look and like, okay, like, yeah, we wait, because you have to get a whole thought. Especially if he's given something of a negative nature, like, I don't ever want to see, I don't know what's coming after, I don't ever want to see, so I just can't start signing. I don't want to see, I don't know what he's going to say, so I have to kind of hear the whole thought, then put it out there.
Okay, I'm going to do something. 4 lines from a poem. It's called Dear God, I'm Sorry. Okay. Dear God, I'm sorry for not thanking you enough. You're the reason that I'm here. You're the reason that I'm tough. Whoa. All right. I'll be down. Now I'm going to do a love piece. Let me see. Let me do something love. Because I want to see how that manifests itself too. I'll just do this one. My goodness, don't look at me with their eyes. Are they full of truths or full of lies? I'm melting dead away. Should I nail myself to the floor to make sure that I stay? God, I wish you'd go away. Okay, bravo, bravo. You are so good.
So you and I could go together, and then when I would invite the deaf
Oh,
community.
yeah, I could do the poetry, and you could be jamming outside of me, and we jamming.
Yes.
We could have the
Yes.
Congo drums too. I mean, we could
Yes.
just jam.
Yes.
Oh, that is
Yes.
wonderful.
And see, when I told you about that, I had my nonprofit.
Yes,
And when I would
tell
have
us
them,
about it.
I would have the music up loud. But when you come in the doors, I had earplugs so that the hearing people could put them in their ears. Because that night, it was all about the deaf community. So even right now, I feel bad because this whole, I've been on TV before, and I had an interpreter to interpret for the host, and I interpreted my responses. And so I don't have that. So maybe this time, they can maybe have the captioning. But really, with the music, with the gospel artists, when I did my fundraiser before, I made sure that whoever was on stage, the interpreter was right there. And so often we're used to being pushed off to the back in the corner. We had to keep telling the interpreter, like, in essence, it's okay to stand right next to it, right next to the person, whoever was speaking. We had, I can't remember the congressman's name, Hanson Clark. He came to my fundraiser last year. And so when he was on stage, the interpreter was right next to him. And then at one point, there were 3 of us on stage. He had us all to gather into him. And we all gathered. We thought we were just going to take a picture. He says, no, keep signing. So we're like this. Imagine we're all sticking like glue to each other, 4 of us, 3 interpreters. He said, keep signing. So we're signing, and there are deaf people here, and there were deaf people over here. And it was that's the prototype of really how it should be. When you see the president of the United States, whomever, you usually see the interpreter closer to them.
Yeah.
But in the church, a lot of times you see the preacher and you see the interpreter way over here. So the deaf person has to go here, then they got to look over here. They got to go here. I remember getting a call from somebody who had seen my videos on YouTube. And she called me about, learning sign language. Then I asked her, I said, I see your church on television, but I don't see the deaf community. Oh, she said, oh, they're behind the cameras. And so it gives the deaf people that impression that, am I even important?
Wow.
Okay, I've got to call another deaf person from, I won't even say the state, but her church, they won't give them access. But my hands are tied because I can't just go into another church and say something. And there's
the advocacy. I mean, this raises the advocacy for this.
Yes.
This is so much. This has been just totally fabulous.
Thank you.
I just have been amazed, honestly amazed. And I think my grandchildren know sign language because they're, no one's deaf, but their nanny they had taught it to them.
Yes.
And it's just interesting watching them because they're all practically babies, 4, 3, and
Yeah.
1, and they're all doing sign language.
They have baby sign language, so that baby may be able to do this before they can talk. They can sign to you milk. Maybe something is hurting up here, but they can go like this, but they can't say, "Oh, hey mom, I have a headache," but they can go like this, and that means I'm hurting up here. So yeah, there's baby sign language that teaches the babies. So I mean, I want to see the world sign, and it's time to stop. When we get to heaven, there's not going to be a deaf section, or a section for the blind, or a section for people in wheelchairs. We're going to all be one. So we need to start here being united. And so when that young man did that ASL video of the Clark sisters, that was wonderful. I mean, it's already got more than 10,000 hits just on YouTube, and I think they just put it up maybe Sunday.
Wow.
And so for the gospel artists, I really want to see one gospel artist because I know then it will spread out to
It
the
will
other.
spread.
It
We
will.
got to get somebody.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, this has been an education in and of itself. Thank you so much, Valerie.
Thank you for having me.
Oh
It's been
my
a pleasure.
goodness, this has been fabulous.
Thank
fabulous.
You, thank you.
And
this
I'd
is
like
a
to
sign
thank
for
you.
Thank you. I just want to show
Oh, what's the sign for
you.
thank you?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How can we say we'll be right back in just a moment?
You want me to teach you
Yeah,
all that?
No, I want you to tell.
Oh,
We'll be right back in just a moment with our guest, Mr. Darnell Glover. Good morning again. Good morning again, and welcome to the Brenda Perryman Show right here on TV 33, WHPR, Comcast 20 in Detroit. And boy, I thought I knew everything about relationships. I might. But there's someone else who knows quite a bit about it. I love hearing it from a man's point of view. Good morning, Darnell Glover. How are you?
Good morning, Brenda. I'm glad to be here with you.
I'm happy you are here. This
Yeah.
book is really interesting. First, let's get a little background on you. Where are you from?
Detroit, and I got a hair salon downtown Detroit for 25 years.
What's it
born
called?
and raised here. Salon on the Park.
Salon on the Park. Where is that located?
That would be on Lafayette, between Rivard.
Oh, okay. And you've been doing hair for a long time,
Long time.
and you've been listening to a lot of ladies talk,
A
haven't you?
lot of ladies. Extremely from one end to the other. And what I've done over these 25 years, accumulated in my mind, and now I started writing them down a couple of years ago, and it has just came out of me pouring. So I figure I'll create something where you don't just top surface. Let's go a little deeper. And this way you can find out where he or she is going with their life, where their mind work, and etc.
Why do people love to talk to their stylists? Why do they love to talk to well, I guess somebody in their hair, that's such a personal thing anyway.
I think it's a trait that they didn't create it, but they're more relaxed in that environment, and they want somebody to vent to or share something with.
Yeah.
And I think the hairdresser is probably the number one person.
You've heard a lot of things, haven't you?
A lot, tremendously a lot. And I want to share every last one of them with no names, but I'm sharing them in the sense of everybody will be aware.
You know, people love to talk to you. They love to, I mean, once they've come to probably their second or third appointment, they're free. They just letting it all hang out, aren't they?
You wouldn't believe. I got stuff
I
off the
do
top of my
believe.
head that I can just rip out there that they just throw at you, and I turn them into something.
Does anything surprise you?
No, not at this point. 28 years of listening
know,
to it,
I
I'm
know.
not surprised at anything.
What are some of the oddest things you've heard?
The oddest, probably how much is they would tolerate and keep going back and then ask me, would they do it again? And I'm saying, why are you going back? So some of those odd things are just, wow.
It's
so
like
mean.
the suffering has become the comfort zone for them, where they, I mean, it's a bad relationship, but it's a relationship they know.
Yeah, but that's not good. Yeah, and that is their comfort zone because they're
Right.
kind of hindered on trying it again or just been pacified with what they're dealing with.
Or they're settled for.
And that's not good either. They're selling for less when they can get more.
There's an old saying, you get what you settle for.
It is, but I'm going to change all of that. I'm really going to help change.
You hear
all of
that, everybody? He's going to change all of that.
All of that.
Your relationships. So tell me, what made you decide? Okay, you were listening to all these things. So what made you decide to go on and put it down?
Well, I guess listening to so much drama and listening to them, I think I was helping them in the sense of not knowing what to answer them when they give me their situation or their problem. I'm a hairdresser. I'm listening, but I don't know what I'm supposed to really say.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you give advice?
I try not to advise. I try to give them something logical to work with. I'm not going to tell you what to do or what not to do, but I'm going to give you something logical to work with. And that hopefully will open your mind up from these binders into a big way, I think.
Well, have you ever dealt with a woman who has a so-called boyfriend or man friend who has 3 other women, but she thinks she's top woman?
Yeah, I had a girl tell me she has 4 different guys, and for all different purposes, which I don't believe she has 4 different guys for all different purposes and not having something with all of them. You know what I mean? She telling us she has these 4 different guys for different purposes and nothing else is involved. I can't believe that.
Oh, so the different purposes could be money,
Right.
sex.
Paying my car. That's right. Paying her car note, house note, etc. And no sex supposed to be involved. I don't
Oh.
believe that. There's no way she's telling me the truth.
How old a woman?
I would say this lady probably was about 35.
Well, maybe they like her.
I didn't see that. I mean,
I know what you're saying. I know exactly, and I agree with you.
I
I
didn't
agree
see
with
that.
you, Darnell. I agree with you.
because to me there's more to stuff, and a lot of people don't tell that, but I didn't see that.
People tell you what they want to hear,
Exactly.
want you to hear. You know, that's what I always say when people get together. Everybody, sometimes 2 people, they're each telling their tale of woe in a bad relationship. But there are 2 sides to every story. Isn't that true?
And there's a third one.
The
There's a
truth.
third one. Yeah.
The truth.
Yeah.
My
And-
side, your side, and the truth.
And yeah, even dealing with some of my closest friends, they'll tell me stuff. I say, well, only way I'm going to believe this if you're telling me the truth. Because you know I need to hear his side. And they bring them to me. I'm going to say, well, okay, in this case, if you're telling me the truth, yeah, I believe you. And what would you do? Such and such and such and such. But I would love to hear his side. But I never do.
So do some people just actually ask you, give me your opinion. What should I do?
Flat out. They right there in my chair, mostly in my chair, but now they're calling me left and right. And they sit there and they ask me this and they said, Darnell, what should I do? Well, me, I would do this, but you, in your case, weigh this way and weigh this way and weigh this way. Then come up with something you think will work for him or you. Don't just play it straight on. Don't do that. I think you lose in that way because you're going at it with a different attitude, and it's a reaction attitude. It's not a thinking attitude. It's a reaction attitude, and that's not good.
Now tell us what perspective your book is coming from. Like I see some, things in there. Tell us about this. What the book is called Relationships, a Two-Way Street. Questions, situations, matters, and ordeals that you want and need to talk about. And that's very true. Sometimes you have to talk about these things to people.
Everything to people. This way you at least know.
Too many cooks spoil the broth. You shouldn't talk to 12 people about the
No.
same thing.
No.
I think that's where people make a mistake, getting too many opinions.
And this is me. If you're going to talk to that 1 or 2 people, talk to someone who's non-biased. They will give you more so a good, honest answer. You talk to people that love you, care for you, they're going to pacify you. They're going to be sympathetic for you.
Sympathetic.
Yeah. So me, talk to somebody that's non-biased, and they will probably give you the best answer.
You hear that, everybody? Look at them and tell them. Talk to somebody that's what?
Truly non-biased.
Right.
True.
And the non-biased person will not judge 9 times out of 10.
No. They're telling you because they care.
Now, what about the person who's a good friend of both people in the relationship? If they go to that person who's a good friend of both.
Right. And that one just come up with me, too. They didn't know what they should do. I would probably stand back for a minute and see what that person is going to do, whoever you went to confine in first. And then if they came to me as that second opinion kind of thing, I would want to know what they told you. Because if I'm going to say something, I truly want to say it on the behalf of the way I think and not just agreeing with that guy or person that told you.
Okay, so tell us about your book.
Well, this book is truly created to help people go a little more deeper in depth with that potential mate that you want to be with. This book is to take you beyond the top surface. My book has questions in here that reaches from church to politics to sex to grandparents to grandkids, the whole shot. This book is not just built on total one thing. This book has a great dimension, and hopefully my second and my third will have the deeper dimension. I want to cover a lot of ground, a whole lot of ground in relationships, period, for everyone. This is for everyone.
This is an interesting question. Why do married women get uncomfortable when single women attend social gatherings primarily made up of couples?
I think they get a little bit intimidated because she's maybe looking totally good and her mate is all eyes on her, and that's a little uncomfortable for her. That
Well, you say, okay, then, the mate is probably, giving her that infection that she's not, that the married women aren't getting
right.
in public.
But even for that man to look over at that girl that came in single too long, she's getting a little uncomfortable with that because you're with her, and she should have my attention.
That's true. Now, here's another question. Is it better that your friend asks your permission to date your ex?
Me, I think so, on the fact that we should limit everybody to not being able to talk to someone's ex. I mean, if it's an ex and you're married now and you're happy in your marriage,
You shouldn't worry
it
about
shouldn't
it.
have to be a problem. See, that's how I think.
Me too.
I'm a realist all the way. I can't think like that. We're limiting ourselves. If you talk to all 10 of these guys in here and she wanted to talk to one of them, they're all your exes, she's left with no one. So to me, she should be allowed to talk to one of those guys. I mean, you can't.
Especially if
I
you're in
don't
a
see
room
it.
with 10 of your exes. Lord, have mercy.
Hypothetically.
Let's see. Let me find one more. This is easy. But let's see what people think. Do you think people lie? If you lie, should you stick to that lie?
Yes, they do lie. And I believe you should stick to it, but you better remember it. If you mess up, most women will catch it. And this is for the fellas. Most women will catch it. If you're not sticking to that till your grave, you done dug your own grave. If you don't stick to it.
That's true. A lie is so hard to remember sometimes.
Right.
That's why you shouldn't even get involved.
It's full of good
It's full
stuff.
of good conversation starters.
Yes, and my sessions are just uncanny. That
Tell us about your sessions that you have.
these sessions are a joy for me.
Okay.
I like them because I get a mixed venue of people, and we throw these questions out there, and they answer back, and then we dialogue from it. And what I'm seeing is a lot of different ways we could have handled this particular situation. We're not handling them under just yes, no, right, and wrong. You find out that what she said makes a little sense, and what you have said made some sense. Now your brain has more to work with when you cross these situations now. You just don't go at them like this anymore. You go at them with a thought. And a thought is good. That way you cut down on a lot of drama, arguing with him or her, and you can go on and have good conversations.
Here's a great question. How long should couples sharing a household, this could be a married household or a communal situation, go without communicating? In other words, I'm mad at you.
Right.
And I'm not talking to you.
Right.
And we're in the same house, and we're supposed to be sleeping in the same bed.
That's right. And to me, I experienced it, so some of them are labeled my personal experience. Me, I've learned not to go past a good 2 hours. Don't do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, don't do it. And, not to go to bed mad. But even if it happened at noon, we got to clean this up by 1:30 that
That's
evening.
really a good,
So, yeah.
but some people are so stubborn.
Oh, no doubt.
Some people are pride will let them just totally mess up something that was good. Their pride, I will not give in. I will not do this and that. What is wrong with I'm sorry?
And that's in there. And this is a good one. I like that you said, I'm sorry. I got in here. When was the last time you went back to an ex? Not to get back with them or anything like that, but just apologize for what you took that person through.
Well,
or what
never.
you
I
might
never
have done.
did anything wrong. But no, I'm just kidding.
No, but I think it's
that's
very
true.
healthy. I think we
That's
all
true.
should try it. I mean, just call them up and say, I know we had a bad relationship, but I would like to apologize on my half that it didn't work. No one does that. I don't think. It's a very, very low percentage.
That's good. That happened to me once, though.
That
Somebody
you-
apologized.
He came back and said he was sorry for the
Yeah,
things
they
that he
always
done.
come back.
And that's kind of cool to me. I think everyone should try it.
Yeah.
The friendship can always be there.
You
Friendship
wanted
is
to
better
get
than
back,
nothing.
but you
He
know,
wanted to get back.
yeah, they want to get back. So all of
No,
a sudden,
me is it's not even wanting to get back. You just want to go back and
just
say, "Oh, I'm
apologize,
sorry."
clear the air, because we're going to go to the same social events. We may meet up and hey, how you doing?
Exactly.
You know,
That would be me. And I'm going to help everybody with that completely. With all of them, we got to be a little better with our communication, with our exes, understand our exes, with our presence. We need to be better at all of those.
you have some things on children and everything. Let's see, you have one. Which one is worse? A woman not telling a man he's going to be a father, or a man not paying child support?
Which one you think?
Well, he can't pay child support if he doesn't. Oh, you're talking about which one?
Which one is worse?
I think the first one, the woman not telling the guy he's a father.
That's right. And that's what I want them to think a little more deeper into things like that. That is the worst.
I have heard women actually say, "Shoot, I don't need a man. I just want the baby. I don't need the man." That's building up something in your head to placate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't think you're good enough for this man to maybe make a commitment to either.
But this book is basically for the 21st century is what I'm working with today. Yesterday was yesterday.
Yesterday
I'm working
was.
with tomorrow. So to me, with these attitudes like this, it ain't working in the 21st century. We need each other. The best way we're going to make a
Absolutely.
good relationship
I-
work and last and build, we need each other. It's not a matter of who makes the most money. You got your 50,000, I got 60,000. What we got on this table is 110,000. We can get what we want.
Absolutely, and that's an issue too sometimes. What about women and men? They're both making their money. Maybe the woman is a little more high profile than the man. Why do men get so intimidated?
And this is the thing we talk about too. Me, I think the woman shouldn't underplay him because he's still a man.
But
him
sometimes
be a
the
man.
woman can kind of underplay herself as not to make him feel bad.
But that's
That
okay.
well,
I'm thinking it's okay on the sense that, I don't know how to say this.
Say it,
What-
say it,
No,
say it.
I
No,
can't
just
say
go on and say
I
it.
don't
We're
want
fine.
to.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No. He just still needs to be a man.
But she
he's gotta
builds
be a
him up,
man.
builds him up, builds him up, and then sometimes things happen. They may be in public, and then people are, oh, so and so to the woman, and she pulls the man out there, and she said, "This is so and so,"
Yeah, your significant other, and to me, I don't know. Some men are totally intimidated by that, and I don't understand it either.
Because everything belongs to us.
Yeah, and they need to talk to women, no matter what their stamina is. They're still a woman.
Stamina.
Oh, okay, stamina, status. I meant status, but yeah, they still need to talk to them and don't feel intimidated by them, no matter what their job position is. They shouldn't be feeling intimidated by that. Most men are.
What is that?
I'm not, so I can't even explain
I
it.
know.
I'm not intimidated by what a woman does in her position. No, I'm still a man, and I'm going to make mine. I'm going to bring it to the table.
That's
That's
right.
all it is. I'm going to bring my thoughts, my help. anything I can do to make this relationship strong and last, I'm bringing what I got. And what you have is not intimidating at all to me.
Absolutely. And I think once that insecurity is dropped, the relationship, I mean, because I think that the worst thing to feel, okay, sometimes people are insecure in their jobs, insecure in their family relationships, but I think that love relationship, you got to knock down everything and try to be secure in that, because it's a relationship that you have to try and trust, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trust is the bottom line there, too.
Trust is the biggest factor in all of it, and believing in your mate. Yeah, all of those, they're hand in hand. But I know it's kind of hard with what they're going through, especially if they're just fighting over something that they think they're fighting over today. They're
Right.
really fighting over something 2 weeks ago or maybe 3 months ago that they did not clear up. These things, then when they happen, do them now. Straighten them out right
But
now.
a lot of times people don't want to, I don't want to start an argument. I just be quiet. And then everything builds up and it just explodes,
That's
doesn't
right.
it?
And that's from the past that you're bringing into today.
Absolutely.
And that's not good.
Right.
That's not good at all. That's why I'm going to help you. Let's talk about them right now. I mean, hypothetically, we're just talking about them, seeing if they're going to happen or if they're not going to happen. At least you know how that
Wow.
person thinks.
Darnell, you have about 300 of these in here.
Right.
Oh, this is excellent. These are all conversation starters. When will your book be out?
Well, we're looking at the new year, 2014.
Oh, wow. I can't wait. Now, I have a Table Talk program which airs in the afternoon. And by the way, today Table Talk won't air because we all have guests in town and everything. So we'll probably air this show again this afternoon at 1 o'clock. So you can watch us again. With this, I have a group of men on my Table Talk show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to invite you back one day to talk. 2 of the men are single,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd like you to talk to them on Table Talk.
I would love it. I really would love that.
Yes, we'll make those arrangements. We will make those arrangements. Let me see your card and everything. So now, for people to come, how do people get to come to your relationship little starter things?
Okay, you
Your
can
conversations.
you can definitely go to my website, www.relationships a two-way street, and you're going
And
to
that's
enjoy
the number
that.
2.
The number 2.
Relationships two-way.
Two-way street.
Oh, it's two-way street.
Well, the book is two-way street.
Oh,
that's-
relationship, a two-way street.
Right.
Yes.
And you can email me if you like, and that's Salon on
Darnell
the Park.
Glover. What's your email address?
Salon two-way@yahoo.com.
This is so, we could talk forever on this.
I like talking about relationships.
I do too, because
this
my
is something
my
you need.
poetry deals with relationships, honey. We get on down.
And most people are scared to talk about relationship stuff. And not most, but most men are scared to talk about relationship issues.
Well, that's funny because I have a lot of young men who talk to me about relationship issues.
I don't. I get a few guys that sit in my chair, they're going to talk to me about it. But when I'm in my travels, I try to talk to guys.
Men don't want to look vulnerable.
Is that what that is? Okay.
They don't want to look vulnerable. They don't want to look like they have issues. And another thing about men don't like problems. So anyway, men don't like issues.
I don't think women like issues either.
But they keep it going sometimes. Oh, I'm a girl. I broke a code. No, but listen, Darnell Glover, we got to have you back too. And thank you so much. And
Thank you.
everybody, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And I will see